Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII for the PSP was a new entry for the beloved Final Fantasy VII saga and was one of the best-selling games on said console. Whilst it being a video game and a game from a popular franchise at that, it was just a matter of time until people would start to speedrun it. But as we can observe as today, Crisis Core only has 5 runners running the main category. If we compare Crisis Core to its big brother Final Fantasy VII, we can see a stark difference between the two games and the submitted runs. For FF7, the main category right now has 58 different runners on its leaderboard, which is quite huge for a JRPG. Considering the original FF7 has such a big following, how come the original Crisis Core only has 5 runners? Why is this game only speedrun by a handful of people? Is there a way to get more potential runners? To answer the first question, there are several reasons why Crisis Core has been run far less than its big brother. Let me show you. Reason number 1, the run is not easy. Speedrunners aren't always interested in the hardest runs. Quite the opposite is the fact. In Crisis Core, I don't see a difference. Whilst the fights are relatively simple and easy to follow, back attacking this enemy, Thundaga spam this monster, there is always one core aspect which can make this run a living hell. You can get incapacitated really fast. If you're in a fight with multiple enemies, you can get knocked out of your current action, be it a healing item, a spell cast, or any regular attack. Now this can happen in single fights as well, but it's worse when there are multiple enemies around. This can lead to you losing health and the enemy quickly chipping away at your HP. That's where the game's dodge mechanic comes into play. With dodges you can avoid a lot of attacks, however, if your dodge timing is ever so slightly off, it can cost you the run. This is especially the case in boss fights and the endgame. To add insult to injury, the original game doesn't have any autosaves either, meaning once you die, you get thrown back to the title screen, needing to start again from scratch. Yup, no easy retry shenanigans. Reason number 2, the run is too long and has no cutscene skips. With the run being more than 5.5 hours long, this game is lengthier than a lot of other games, but that can't be said if we compare it to FF7. Which is an entire hour longer. So that leaves us with the cutscenes. Crisis Core has an incredible amount of downtime that you rarely see in speedruns nowadays. More than half of what you see in the run is loading times and cutscenes. The opening cutscene alone is almost 5 minutes long, making resets absolutely horrible. No matter how good the cutscenes are, after you've seen them 3 times a week, you've seen them enough. Reason number 3, sales. The sales argument might contradict with the list of best-selling PSP games, claiming that Crisis Core was one of the best-selling games on the console, but the game didn't sell nearly as many copies as its bigger brother. Crisis Core sold, according to Wikipedia, 3.1 million units worldwide, while the original Final Fantasy VII sold 13.9 million units. There's a difference of 10 million people, and a lot of those 10 million people just did not like Crisis Core. Reason number 4. The PSP is difficult to record from. The biggest reason why there aren't more runners is because the game was released on a PSP. Being a handheld console game, it already sets off alarms to those who can easily get hand cramps when holding these consoles for a long period of time. Another thing is getting the necessary accessory for the PSP, the video and audio out cable. It's a cable you plug into the bottom of the PSP, which sends both audio and video signal through the cable to your capture card. That meant you had to purchase an additional item to record or stream your game. What's even worse is that this AV out feature to play your PSP games on your TV was only implemented later in the PSP's lifecycle. Most people own the 1000 model PSP, including yours truly. Problem is, the video out feature is only apparent in the 2000 and 3000 model of the PSP. So if you have a 1000 PSP model, you're out of luck, and you have to purchase another PSP, 2000 or 3000, to make sure that you can record or stream your game from the console. I actually went out of my way and purchased the 2K model to show how the setup looks like in this video. This is my 2K PSP. You can see it right there on the serial label down there. There are multiple ways to tell if it's a 2K, 1K or 3K. This is the cable. that I hooked up to my PSP with the audio and video out. It goes into this Hyperkin cable right here. It actually needs 5-volt power. It's going to the power brick, then goes over to the capture card. The small community of Crisis Core speedrunners realized how big of an issue all of this is, and thus decided to add an emulator leaderboard. So those who do not have the necessary extras available would also have a chance to run the game if they want to. You could try and record the game the old-fashioned way, with a webcam pointed at the console, but that setup is way too clunky and extremely uncomfortable to run the game this way for nearly 6 hours. These are all the reasons why people might not look at Crisis Core and try their hand at speedrunning it. But what could be done to increase the number of runners? The remaster will be our saving grace. With the remaster just coming out in a couple of days, I do strongly believe that we will see new speedrunners showing interest in speedrunning the game. With all these new features, updated gameplay and the cutscene skips that have been confirmed, this might have a chance to become a really popular speed game. It also helps that the game is coming out on every modern console, including Switch and PC. But that's all for today. Thank you all for listening.